Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Who's feeling the energy from this week? Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, baby. Man, it's been really, really good. For many of you, I have had the opportunity, because you are in programs with me where we get one-on-one time every week, to get a little bit of insight about what it is that you are experiencing here. If you are not in a one-on-one program with me where we get time every week, shoot me an email. Let me know what's going on with you. Let me know what is exploding in your mind, in your heart. This work is so powerful. It's just really absolutely blowing my mind. I woke up today so in love with my life, so in love with my job, so proud of all of the breakthrough that is happening, and really just in a space of humility and just so much gratitude for what it is that I get to show up and facilitate on the planet as all of you are stepping into your genius. I had just a ridiculously amazing conversation with Ava this morning, because the Friday mornings are our time together. The stuff that's coming through this little genius is phenomenal. I got to hang with Chris Alicia last night, which what I want to open and say is, how many of you did the Saint Germain invocation from Chris? If you didn't do that yet, I'm assigning it as homework. Blew my mind. Chris, baby, good gracious. That rocked my world. I did it twice. I did it once sitting outside and just letting it come in. I was like, dude, I have to do that again. And so I did it while I was cleaning my bathroom. And girl hadn't cleaned her bathroom in a little while. So first of all, that's some damn alchemy right there, the fact that she got me motivated to go clean my bathroom. But what was so cool was, as I was cleaning my shower, like my whole energetic frequency and understanding of this portal. How many of you guys get crazy downloads in the shower? All the time I get them in the shower, right? So as I'm cleaning my shower doors, I'm like, oh, I'm cleaning up my glass elevator into the higher realms of consciousness. Like it should. And these are the little ways which you will begin to see yourself shifting. It is alchemy when you show up and you clean your bathroom with an understanding of, I'm shining up my glass elevator into higher levels of consciousness. Yes, it looks like really big downloads that come in where all of a sudden life just begins to make sense. And yes, it looks like having a different attitude and perspective when you clean your shower. So I am assigning this as homework to everybody. It is one of the most powerful invocations that I have ever experienced. I know she's like, woo, she's really giving me the credit today. I am, girlfriend. It is so good. And for me to just be a witness and this to come through my tribe makes me, just like I said, so profoundly grateful and excited for my life and for the work that we are all here doing together. So I just want to honor every single one of you. The synchronicities that are coming through for many of you are blowing your minds, blowing my minds too. And I want to share with you, even if you don't feel like you're, I brag about everybody in here doing their big shit. You feel like, oh, my life isn't really working quite that way. Yes, it is. I promise you, all of the downloads that are coming in for the collective are coming in for you. The synchronicities are there. You are training yourself to see them. They are moving and shifting and igniting your world in just the way that you need to be experiencing the energy. So I love you all, and I just want everybody to know that what is blowing up in this space is phenomenal. And it doesn't matter to what degree you feel like you are receiving it, because it is coming in, okay? Jonathan said, are you referring to the YouTube link that we received in the mail yesterday? Yes, I am. I'm going to, hang on, Chrissy, baby. I'm going to spotlight your video for 1 second so everybody can see your beautiful face. That's her right there. You'll see her beautiful picture in the email, and then also the link in the bottom. Tammy said she didn't receive it. If you didn't receive it, check your spam. And if you don't find it in spam, shoot me a message and I will resend it over to you. Chris, you want to say anything about your powerful video?
I think I'm wearing makeup in it, so that was cool.
It's the one, it's just your voice. It's your voice.
Oh, okay. Is that the 18-minute one? So
good.
The violet flame has been coming in so heavy now, and I've seen it across the world. Everybody's doing this radical transformation. So I taught the last step of ascension, and both alchemy and metaphysics, as well as the chakra system, all talked about the violet flame. So these three different traditions said the violet flame was ascension. It was the key to ascension. So I sat out after a run. I was just laid out on a dock, and I hit my voice recorder. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call in the flame, and I had no idea where it was gonna go, but it's fun. So that sound you hear in the background is just me sitting by the water.
I love it. It is just ridiculously powerful. Thank you for being the amazing channel that you are and bringing that through. It was, like I said, I'm assigning it as homework. And it's really important that you check that out before actually crafting the medicine tomorrow, because it will up level your skills even to another dimension. So we're going to dive in and open the records. I don't see Jessica here. She's doing most of the teaching of the class. Let me just check my messages and make sure that she can get in. Jennifer said, where was today's Zoom link? So sometimes this stuff goes to spam. So if you found it in your spam folder, then try to check it and move it back into your regular inbox, and that should fix it from going to spam next time. All right, so we are going to start and open up our Akashic records today. You guys, did you notice a difference between the way we opened the records yesterday versus the first day? The first day was what I call more the long way. We're going in, we're seeing our quantum energy, we're feeling the different layers as we go through Mother Earth. We did it quick style yesterday. And I want to give just a little bit of background to my process going into the records, how it works, and how it's evolved over the course of the years that I've been doing this, okay? So when I became certified in learning to read the records, I was not taught the same way that I teach you guys. I was taught Linda Howe's method, which is a pathway prayer. You speak this powerful prayer, you feel all your whole body lighten up, and you create a light bridge between yourself and the field of the Akash. That light bridge is how the energy travels back and forth, and it's a really powerful way to go into the records. Yet this was a method that she developed and channeled in over 60 years ago. And actually, it might not be quite that long ago. It was in the 60s, I believe, that when she channeled it in, okay? And when I felt my guides calling me forward to teach this, they really impressed on me that I would need a new way to take those who were in my lineage, those in soul contract to do this work with me, into the records a different way. Not because there's anything wrong with her way, but because there were different components that modern day humans would need in order to have a powerful access point to the field. So similar to how Chris talked about, she's just sitting on her dock, she pressed go, started bringing it in. I started opening up and just channeling in, how am I going to take people into the records? What is my process going to look like? And when it first came into me, it looked very simple the way that we went into the records yesterday. Okay, it was just focusing on the tube of light, anchoring it into the core of Mother Earth, anchoring into the Kosh, and sounding the 5 sacred ohms to move into the records. As I continued my own journey, my own growth, working powerfully with this realm, what began to happen is that I began to understand the minutia, all the little beautiful details that were in the process the entire time. Yet they didn't reveal themselves to me until I continued to work with this modality for quite some time. Okay? I share that because your medicine that we craft is going to be similar. It's going to be infused with all kinds of powerful energy. It's going to reveal many aspects of it to you as you're crafting it, as we're going along through this process. But many of the special nuances won't be revealed to you until you continue to stick with this process. You continue to work with your medicine with a high level of awareness so that you can see how it's moving and shifting in your field. Okay? One other thing that I want to talk about is, for those of you who did get the email, some of you guys, it went to your spam folder, but for those of you who did see it, you saw the beautiful graphic of Jessica on top, which is sharing specifically what we had planned to do this week when we were going to be in Shasta in person. That's still what we will be doing in Shasta when we go back. But I put together, when I was originally crafting this beautiful spreadsheet. I sent it all to you guys the very, very first day, that the Mount Shasta files, I call them, right? And so at the very top of that image, you might have noticed that it says key code number 6. Very similar to what I just described to you in terms of how my own process began to reveal itself to me, how your medicine will reveal itself to you. We are downloading through this process, through this sacred ceremony this week together, 7 key codes of alchemy. And I want to bring your awareness to it more dynamically today. I wanted to wait until today to bring that forward to you because I want you to experience how your intuition works and allow you to understand that your intuition is guiding you and keeping you in just the place that you need to be, even if you don't understand all the minutia, all the mechanics of it right up front. Okay, so we have been downloading these alchemaic keys from day one, even though you might not have had a very conscious awareness of what each of these codes are. So I'm going to share with you what each of the codes are that you have been working with today. And if you are not on mute, I will put you on mute. Key code number 1 through 4 were the questions that we worked with. Okay, on day 1, we worked with 3 questions. Who am I? Where am I from? Why am I here? The information that you downloaded through the answers of those 3 questions, those are key codes. Those hold sacred knowledge, they hold sacred intention, and they hold a magnificent amount of power. So I'm also going to ask each of you to journal on the questions again, just so all of that knowledge and insight that has come in for you will be infused into your medicine. The 4th key code was, how can I make the world a better place? And we worked with that a little bit yesterday. Key code number 5 was the little doodle drawing that you did, the serenity portal, bringing this into actualization here on the planet. Key code number 6 is the crafting of the medicine, which we are going to be learning about today, crafting tomorrow. And key code number 7 is, where am I going with this? How am I committed to showing up in the world and take my medicine, my knowledge, my genius out into the world? Okay, let's go into our records together, everybody. I see some of you still furiously writing. Fire coming out your pens. There's all this beautiful purple smoke coming up in the field here. All right, let's close our eyes. Going inward, take a nice deep breath in, creating space within the body, pausing at the top of that breath. Gentle pause, downloading massive amounts of consciousness just in this pause with the space we're creating. Nice gentle exhale. Pausing at the bottom of the breath. Second breath, take it in now. Calling light to you from 360 degrees. Light, photonic light, is information, intelligence. Letting that come into your system, your frequency, igniting your DNA, igniting your cellular structure, re-engaging the telomere. Nice deep exhale. Third breath in is calling back your power. Everywhere we've given away our power, feel that returning into the structure of the body. Feel it integrating into the physical, the emotional, the mental, the light body. Nice slow exhale. Focusing on that crystalline tube of light running up and down the spine. We're going to go in the long way today, everybody. So lots of activations along the way when we bring our awareness to the upgrades that we're getting. And we're going to go through an upgrade of our psychic senses here. So engaging the imagination will make this the most powerful for you as possible. If you find that you're still driving the imagination, meaning you're sitting around, you're waiting for this to pop in, it's not working, so you're like, all right, I'm going to push it a little bit. I'm going to create it in my imagination. That's great. That's how you do the work. So feel free to drive the imagination as we're doing this. So with your inner awareness, we're going to start with clairvoyance, clear inner vision, examining the inside of that crystalline tube, noticing if it's smooth, if it's faceted, shifting the awareness now to the outside of the crystalline tube, noticing the beautiful facets unique to you and your structure, and imagining that crystalline tube extends all the way to the base of the spine, all the way up to the top of the head. We're going to work with it in this.
torso part of our body, torso and head part of our body first. And as you take the next deep breath in, greeting the breath is your life force energy. It is a technology that bridges the gaps between the physical world and the world of ether, the world of higher consciousness. And I want you to watch your breath as it's moving through those chakras, starting at the base of the spine, igniting that color, shooting the color associated with each chakra out 360 degrees. And again, not only seeing this in front of you, but seeing it to the sides, to the top, to the bottom, behind you. See it happening within you. That will begin to invoke your connection to the 7 directions. And beginning to witness your energy on the quantum level. So seeing the color spilling out through the crystalline tube, moving out, creating sacred geometry, beautiful sacred geometry all around you. This is activating your inner clairvoyance, your inner vision. Keeping all of this in the imagination, now I want you to add sound. So as the breath is traveling through the crystalline tube, igniting each one of those chakras, hear the beautiful harmonic frequency associated with each one of those chakras, allowing spirit to adjust your inner clairaudience, your clear inner hearing. I actually had an audible voice of spirit coming into me the other night. I was right about to fall asleep, and I had been channeling in book titles. So my mentors are working with me to write a book. So I was channeling these book titles and these taglines. And all of a sudden I hear this big, it literally was like, knock, like spirit knocking on my door, my inner clairaudient door. And I was like, oh, that was cool. So you'll begin to notice these kind of up levels. You'll notice colors and lights. You'll notice sound, not only inner sound, but audible sound. You'll notice adjustments in the ears, a little ringing in the ears. As you continue to do this work and up-level your intuitive senses. Let's add the vibrational frequency now, the clairsentience. So allowing yourself to feel the vibration of not only the sound, but feel the vibration of the color as well. Notice the nuance of how the bottom of your crystalline tube, where the red from the root chakra is emanating, vibrates differently than the top of the crystalline tube, where the purple, the crown chakra, light is pouring from your field. Holding all of this in the awareness, the color, the sound, the vibration. Now we're going to activate our clairsentience, our clear inner knowing. And we're going to do that by moving this experience from a singularity, meaning up and down our central column of light, and allowing every cell of our body to come alive with the light, the color, the sound. You will absolutely lose the sense of the physical body here and just witnessing yourself as quantum energy in 3, 2, 1. Now making a big quantum leap, allowing every cell of the body to come alive with light, color, sound, vibration, harmonics, sacred geometry. Holding this in the awareness, witnessing it, hold in the consciousness on this. It's a lot to hold in the imagination, so holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can release the imagination now. And this is where we give ourselves the pat down, starting at the top of the head, gently touching and loving the body. When the hands touch your body, it signals to the body that you're safe. It's why hugs feel so good. And we want all of ourselves to know that it is safe to hold this quantum awareness of who we are, of our power, engaging it fully within the body. This will help you to embody more dynamically the upgrades that you're experiencing this week. Pat yourself all the way down to the feet. Good job. And then returning to a nice upright position, a little undulation of the spine just to keep the energy moving. Again, focusing on that crystalline tube. We're going to travel down now into the belly of Mother Earth. I'm going to ask you some questions as we're moving down. This is to invite all of the ancient memory of who you are to come into your awareness, whether it comes in with words that describe what you're experiencing to you, or whether it just comes in energy. It doesn't matter. And this is really to, again, invite your ancient memory and power to be present during all of the medicine crafting we're doing, following that crystalline tube of light down, moving down out your feet, going into the crust of Mother Earth, the realm of our ancestors. I bragged on Jennifer Soto earlier. She gave me some cool vocabulary for what's happening here. This all comes from her. This is where the magnetic connection into Mother Earth starts. This is where you feel the love and the support and held by your ancestors, sharing their wisdom, sharing all of their inheritance with you. And noticing here, what does it look like? What does it sound like? Does it feel like? How do you know yourself in this space? Receiving what comes to you. And we continue to travel down now together into the roots of Mother Earth, the realm of knowledge and medicine, experiencing that shift with our inner awareness. What does it look like? What does it sound like? Does it feel like? How do you know yourself in this space? We're moving now down into the crystalline caves of Mother Earth, the records, experiencing this shift, noticing what does it look like? Does it sound like? What does it feel like? How do you know yourself in this space? We continue to travel down now into the waters of Mother Earth, her sacred underground waters, feeling our consciousness transform with the ability to flow, having great power and access, shifting our emotional fields, experiencing the dolphins and the whales. What does it look like? Does it sound like? What does it feel like? How do you know yourself in this space? And continuing to travel down now into the sacred womb of Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. Allowing your consciousness to become fully present here with the Mother, held in her glorious frequency, and acknowledging the Mother. It's this beautiful goddess, so self-realized in her Christic consciousness that she's incarnated as a physical planet, here supporting one of the greatest experiments ever in the galaxy, a physical zone where beings are creators, manifestors, here to experience joy, bliss, here to take part in consciousness experiencing itself. Mother Earth is so full of source and resource. Everything that we need here to create exists here on this planet. Even elementals that did not originate here on Earth are present here on Earth. One of the only places in the galaxy that we find that. And with this knowledge, this awareness of who you are and the inheritance that Mother Earth gives you, we rise back up out of the belly of Mother Earth, giving your consciousness permission to become fully activated with all of the source and resource available for you in each one of these realms. So we rise back up through the water, through the crystalline caves, through the roots, the medicine. Since we're going to be crafting medicine, or learning today, crafting tomorrow, I just want to bring your awareness to all of the medicine that we need here on Mother Earth exists within this dimensional layer of her body. And since we are a holographic representation of the Mother, that means all of the medicine that we need to exist within our body. We're going to physicalize and craft that together. Moving back up into the realm of the ancestors, Bringing all of that energy, that self-realized energy, back into your physical body. Feel it moving from the feet up to the ankles, the lower legs, knees, upper legs, rushing up the body, the torso, the trunk, all the way up into the heart, chest, the back, melting down the upper arms, into the elbows, the forearms, the wrists, the hands, the fingertips. Our hands, one of our most divine creation tools here as humans on the planet. Honoring your hands, the consciousness coming alive in them. And with those activated hands, voluntarily reaching back, ushering the energy from the back of the shoulders up over the top of the head, into the crown chakra, melting down around the front of the face, into the heart space, completing that circuit. Take a nice deep breath in. Activating that flow of energy from Mother Earth. Feel it as it begins to work on the physical body. Every cell of your physical body now coming alive with the Christic consciousness remembrance of who you are. Feel your bones, your organs, your skin, your muscular tissue, your hair, your teeth. Every aspect of the physical body now holding that Christic consciousness template. Take another nice deep breath up from Mother Earth. This is going to be working on our emotional body, the liquid aspects of our body. So fully realized, fully sourced and resourced energy from Mother Earth flowing now into the liquid body. So every cell of blood that nourishes the organs, the muscular tissue, the bones, all the blood now coming alive with Christic consciousness energy. Your sexual fluids all coming to life, the ability to create. Moving up the spinal fluid. Your spinal fluid naturally holds a template of Christic consciousness blueprint, fully activating that. Feeling the activation of the saliva, the cerebral fluid, your tears, the fluid around the eyeballs, every aspect of the liquid body now holding that Christic consciousness potential. Take another nice deep breath in. Call this into the mental body, the electrical components of your body. This begins to work on the nervous system, allowing your nervous system to hold a higher frequency of energy. This will calm your trigger points down. Move that up into the heart space, fully activating the neurons of the heart, allowing you to process life, not in the monkey mind, but in the heart space. Feel that energy moving up into the monkey mind now, closing off and sealing all old neural pathways that have become so ingrained with limiting belief, with anxiety, closing those off, opening up new neural pathways, connecting directly into the Akash so we can bring down powerful, powerful wisdom. One more nice deep breath in, fully activating the light body with Christic consciousness potential. Feel this moving into the chakras, those that you know, those that you don't know. It's more Jennifer Soto vocabulary right there. Moving into the Merkaba, into the toroidal field, fully activating your ability to be magnetic here on the planet. So now what we've done is we've taken a moment to activate our human body, to witness ourselves as quantum energy, to understand how our energy operates beyond the physical body. And then we've drawn in the energy up from Mother Earth, that fully realized Christic consciousness of knowing our potential, brought that back into presence, into every aspect of our body. Now we want to bring in the wisdom of the Akash, knowledge, illumination, so we know what to do with all of our power, all of our potential. Focusing again on that crystalline tube of light, sending it out the top of your head, all the way up through the room, breaking through the ceiling, all the way up through the Earth's atmosphere, exiting the atmosphere, passing the moon, passing the sun, exiting our solar system, exiting the Milky Way galaxy, passing the other galaxies in our universe, exiting the universe now, exiting the multiverse, anchoring that crystalline tube of light into the Akash. Nice deep breath in as we anchor. And as we exhale, setting an intention to acclimate to this very high frequency energy. Calling forward now the energy of infinite intelligence, and consciousness. Feel that energy begin to gather and start swirling down that crystalline tube of light, moving down through the layers of space and time, integrating into your upper gateways. That is your galactic gateway, down to your universal, down to your causal gateway. Those are very high chakras. Spiraling down, anchoring, harnessing itself in the soul star chakra. This is the seat of the I am presence where your higher self integrates. It's also your access point into the Akashic records. That energy continues to spiral down through the crown, the third eye, fourth eye, throat, ascended heart, heart, solar plexus. Just hanging out there in the solar plexus for one moment, fully activating our power. Spiraling down through the sacral, through the root, continuing to spiral down out your feet, activating Earth Star Chakra below your feet, anchoring deep into the crystalline core center of Mother Earth, breathing together. I want you to imagine that you can see a giant golden cord in the shape of a figure eight, an infinity symbol that moves up through this crystalline tube into the Akash, moving back down. Vortex point is in your heart space, moving down into the into the Mother Earth, and back up through the heart, up into the Akash, down from the Akash through the heart, down into Mother Earth, back up from Mother Earth through the heart. And just witness this energy moving through your crystalline tube, holding you in this beautiful anchored space between heaven and earth. And on the count of 3, we're going to create a vortex of energy moving through our crystalline tube. And I want you to watch what happens to that giant figure eight, that giant infinity symbol in 3, 2, 1. Activate the vortex. Watch that infinity symbol begin to spin, spinning faster, 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 till it turns into a giant golden strand of DNA, connecting you from the Akash into the earth plane. We're going to drop fully into the heart space. So any amount of your consciousness that is processing this meditation, pulling that consciousness, that energy from the mind, bringing it into a beautiful crystal ball and lowering that crystal ball of energy, merging it back into the heart space, consciousness fully in the heart now. And we're going to sound the 5 sacred ohms, invoking sacred sound, which fully rearranges the matrix of space and time, using the primordial sound creation tool of Om, and going together into our Akashic records. With this Om, I relax my body. With this Om, I relax my mind. With this Om, I release my ego. With this Om, I call in the light. With this Om, I open the Akashic records of Emily Suzanne Harrison and the Akashic alchemists of Mount Shasta. The records are now open. Notice what you're noticing inside of your body, inside of your mind, inside of your awareness, and just be present with that for a few moments. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes, moving yourself back into a more conversational state, recognizing that your intellectual channels are wide open. You will be experiencing the information and the knowledge that Jessica shares today through this higher space of consciousness that will make more sense to you. You'll have lots of aha moments, awarenesses, connections being made within your own mind today. It's because we are in this very high frequency space. Thank you all for being here with me. And with no further ado, Jessica of Mulladan, I'm going to put you on spotlight video and hand you the conch shell, baby. Take it away.
Hello. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Entry into the records. I'm feeling very good and tapped in. So it's great to be here and meet all of you today. I have a pretty robust, presentation of slides that I'm going to be walking you through today. There's two parts. The first part is sort of like the broader, bigger why of what we're doing and how that relates to the reemergence of the Lemurian energies, which regardless of whatever crystal you have, that's totally part of this alchemy that we're doing here as a group through the grid and through our collective intention. And then there's the second part where I'm going to be walking you through how to go through the ritual of preparing and essencing your gem, and then also how to then craft the medicine. So, and I'll probably do a quick little pause in the middle to see if there's any questions before we get into that second part. So, but the beginning is really just to give you guys a broader, deeper understanding of why what we're doing is so important, and to really bring that consciousness and the education in so that if there's a deeper level and multi-layered meaning to the process tomorrow when we're all going through the ritual and essencing. So before I do that, just I guess a little bit about me is I am several things. I do tarot and oracle reading for my own Facebook group every week, where I'm always kind of tapping into what the collective energies are, specifically for the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And I'm really been kind of a bit of a pioneering this new Lemurian consciousness a lot through those readings and through my own journey. I've done also a lot of travel that I'm going to touch on a little bit, where I've done a lot of healings and activations that also opened me up to ultimately this journey of becoming a flower essence therapist and an Akashic Records reader with Emily, that have been two of the most profound, powerful, and transformative tools for coming into your magic, your mastery, and your wholeness, your true healing. So I'm super, super excited to share the material. And I think at this point, I'm gonna just put on I'm gonna share my screen so I can go to the presentation, and I'm gonna start working through the slides. And if you guys do have any questions as we go, if it's really, really urgent, you can pose that, but know that I am going to pause in the middle, halfway through, so you don't have to wait till the very end. If you can wait a little bit. Okay. So I'm just going to go straight to the PowerPoint. Okay. So. let's get this first. Okay, great. So can everyone see that okay? Raise your hands. Yeah. Okay, great. So awakening with ancestral medicine. So this is really going to be looking at the bigger, broader, like, yes, we're focusing on gems today, but the process of preparing essences and elixirs for flowers, trees, and gems is all, in many respects, very similar and the same. And so I'm going to be touching a little bit on all of that because it's all part of this broader process of reconnecting with more deeply with the natural world. So if you see pictures of flowers as we go, that's why, because a lot of the work I do is with the flowers, and so a lot of my visuals to explain a lot of what we're doing is with flowers. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to learn how to develop a rich and rewarding connection with the plant and mineral kingdoms and why that's important at this time. And we're going to learn how flower essences and gem elixirs work to provide profound healing. And we're going to learn how to conduct an essencing ritual and then how to craft a flower essence or gem elixir. So what we're not learning today is the full breadth and scope required to become a flower essence or gem elixir practitioner or therapist. And the reason why I say that is because to actually learn that takes many months, and it's a lot of lessons to really learn the full breadth of, like, if you wanted to start healing various issues and treating other people. So there is a systematic approach to working with various essences and elixirs for effective, profound healing of past trauma and lower chakra imbalances, which often result in physical healing, including a lot of feminine issues for women around the womb. So that's something that's outside of the scope of what we're going to be able to cover today, but it's part of the broader work of this magical healing system. And we're not going to be learning how to prepare and prescribe vibrational plant medicine formulas for yourself or others, which is how to work in combination with different plants together to, craft them to have synergistic effects. We're just working with one particular elixir as an introduction to what we're doing with, the time that we have. So I ask that you meet me on a bridge between worlds and allow the spirit of the natural world to come alive more than ever before, and really see everything, not even just the gem, but where you end up making your elixir, your medicine, in a whole deeper way. And I think you'll find by the end of that process that it was the most enchanted journey, and you'll never quite look at your natural environment quite the same way again. So ancestral medicine is the path of the innocent and compassionate Christ at heart. There are several ascended masters who practice this path. It's from my experience within, through my own meeting with the masters in meditation, I can say with certainty it's a path of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, and also a path of Lao Tzu and Kuan Yin. And really especially powerfully with the lovely Kuan Yin and her immortal healing waters, which are available to all through the quantum field. And specifically the white rose of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene is a very profound initiation on this journey of all ancestral earth medicine, whether that be, as an herbalist or as a flower and gem essence practitioner. But it's a very, very big step into the world of the cosmic plant kingdom, and how how the spirits of plants are very multidimensional, and that's how they can provide us healing in such profound ways through vibration. So Avalon is something I want to just quickly touch upon as it relates to this, because it's been an important part of my journey. And the reason being is that it is a keeper of many ancient Akashic records that are ready to awaken at this time. And the Glastonbury tour, which is the picture down on the left here, is the rainbow bridge to the heart chakra of Gaia. And on the 444 gateway that recently passed, she was fully activated to bridge the Lemurian wisdom from the other world. And on the right here, we've got the chalice well, and I have been taking an essence of a rose from the chalice well recently in my own formulas as a part of calling this in, because the chalice well is in very close proximity to the tour, and there's a red spring at the chalice well that's connected to the white spring at the tour, which is just like the red and the white spring at Stewart Springs, where we're going to be going at Mount Shasta. Funny that. So it's all connected. And I did see that rainbow bridge coming down through the tour on the 444 gateway. And it was really powerful. And it's certainly, as you'll see in other things I'm going to show you to come, starting to show some physical manifestations that are really exciting. But that rainbow bridge is really what's allowing us to proliferate this Lemurian wisdom now at this time, in this moment. And you guys are very much on the leading edge, doing some amazing, amazing work, not only for yourselves, but in service to the entire human collective. So Mount Shasta and Telos play a vital role in anchoring these energies into the physical plane and distributing the Lemurian codes through the new Earth grid. And these rainbow Lemurian light codes will rise from the groundwaters of the earth to create a mass awakening in the collective consciousness. But it's not just going to happen on its own, because through your essencing and your ancestral medicine, you are acting as a conduit through your vessel and through your waters to anchor this more deeply on the planet. And that's really very much a priority, really, for all light workers at this time. So it's very, 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 very beautiful and wonderful. And I am very excited to have you all here today and grateful. So both of these sites unlock vital keys to the unlocking and awakening of the ancient Lemurian DNA codes in humanity to bring forth the ascension and the creation of the new earth. Our alchemy and grid work is unlocking these key codes of light for humanity, bringing forth the magic of Merlin's light. So Merlin is typically, traditionally known through the mythology of Avalon, but Merlin goes back way farther than that, because Merlin is connected to Lemuria as well, from my own multidimensional inner travel shamanic journeys to the land of Lemuria. And he's connected to those underwater mermaid energies as well, as well as the dragon energies. And that makes sense, because Merlin received his sword of truth from the Lady of the Lake, which is, of course, the woman of the water, which is very much tied to the mermaid energies, which is the magic of the realms that at the Lemurian times is all connected. It was all one. And so it's something, if you haven't connected with Merlin yet in meditation, through this transmission and through this work, I feel like this will open up more for you to start receiving that power, those powers in your own alchemical work. So a journey I also want to quickly touch upon that activated me into this work more deeply without going, too deeply into it. 'Cause I know it doesn't quite totally fit in with the rest of the presentation, but I do feel like it's important, is a journey I did to Machu Picchu on November 11th, 2018, which was numerological 11-11-11. And I went there and I conducted a sacred prayer at 11:11 a.m. at the temple space. And the fact that that all worked out is kind of just in itself magical, and it wasn't really planned in full, I gotta be honest. So, but spirit brought me there. And I ended up calling in a higher aspect of myself, who I know to be as Queen Govinda of Andromeda. And I think it's just important to talk about that, because the Andromedan frequencies are very connected to this rainbow light, and which is connected to the Lemurian rainbow light. And it's like that light, it's almost like that Andromedan rainbow light is the ultimate source, which then kind of went through Sirius and then through to Lemuria. So it was a powerful reconnection at a powerful time to really reach up into those like very vast cosmic layers of self. And what was asked of me to call in at that time was for the healing, sorry for the typo, but the healing of the wombs of all the women in the world in order to facilitate the ascension of humanity with our beloved Gaia. And I think that's really interesting, because when we were doing the biofeedback, we were noticing that some of the areas that were a little muddier was down in those lower two chakras, specifically kind of around that sacral. And that I can't say that totally surprises me, because that is often where we struggle the most. And that is where flower essences shine, because that is truly, especially with the sacral chakra, where it has the most like powerful healing. And of course, and I'll say that especially for flower essences, because your womb space, whether you're a man or a woman, your womb, your hara, is still a flower. And so that's a very, very important truth to embrace as part of your total healing and your magic, and anchoring these codes into the earth. So, and the other thing that was really interesting was I also saw the face of many other earth warriors who are working to improve the quality of our physical environment. So these Lemurian energies, or all the way back to these Andromedan energies, are very much wanting to bring forward more sustainability and new technologies at this time that can allow us to live more harmoniously with the earth. And so they really did want to bring forward certain people that are really focused on leadership in those areas, in addition to, which is a different type of a light work, in addition to the healers. So it's just all some background stuff. And this is one more background piece that I also just want to share, because I'm just really, really fascinated by it. And I've been very, very much a huge, well, I'm going to tell you as we come up about when I prepared my Lemurian elixir on the Lion's Gate last year in 2019. So August 8th, 2019 is when I went on this journey myself. And I was guided to go to a site, which is a multi-dimensional portal cave site in, well, it's in Ontario. It's hard to describe exactly where, but it's called the Bruce Peninsula Grotto. And right before I went to that site, I received these cards in the mail that had like spirit had guided me, and it's like, you have to have these cards, you have to do it. And they showed up just in time for me to take them with me. And they actually were there the entire time that I did my Lemurian crystal ritual. So that's how significant they have been to my, like literally the essence I prepared. They almost became a part of it. And they have imparted so much of this pure Lemurian unconditional love codes since that time until now. And it's been a completely transformative journey. And I know that you're going to have this, like the same journey as well through this process. So I the other thing that's been a real miracle is when I found these cards, really it was still very unknown. They were kind of brand new or newish. They like kind of obscure. It was still the first publication. And I've been participating in these healing groups, and really like nobody was kind of showing up. There's like 2 or 3 people at each one. And I was kind of just like, I don't really get it. Like, there's just like, this is it. This is where we're going. This is where we're headed. Like this is like what we're awakening for humanity. And but then suddenly, and it's 555 on my clock, right as I say that, huge change. And in the past few days since we started this beautiful virtual retreat, one of the most popular oracle readers on YouTube, Consciousness Evolution Journey, featured their Lemurian oracle cards. And the video has like over 50,000 views in 2 days, and they're getting a tremendous response. And this is from literally like nobody, out of nowhere. Like it wasn't like this gradually built at all. It was completely just from like nobody listening to now all of a sudden thousands and thousands of people being brought into the Lemurian codes. And so here we are, you know, at this beautiful moment doing our part in that. It's time, you know, for the Lemurian light codes and remembrance and awakening of all that we are and our capacity for unconditional love to rise. And so this is, I wanted to share this because the creators of the deck made a higher self portrait for me, which I ordered a very long time ago. And they actually just made it recently. I was waiting since last August, but the lady who prepared the deck had a stroke and had to recover. And she went to the tour, Glastonbury tour, which I mentioned at the beginning, and received this literally at the last day she was allowed to go there before they shut it down because of COVID-19. And so it was like this little miracle that came through. And then she was able to ship me the canvas, and boom, like I put it up on Monday, and then like boom, the next day or 2 days later, like their videos exploded. Or their cards exploded. So it's really just exciting to just see these synchronicities and see everything falling in place. And like, it was finally able to be that this Lemurian aspect of myself was able to come forward in some physical way through this portrait. And also now through other readers starting to share their cards, it's becoming, it's landing. We are landing it. And through the work we're doing, we're landing everything much further through this essencing process. And it also, I did a healing with this portrait just this morning because there's light language around the throat there. And I had a lot of tears come through, and a new dialect of light language came through at a much higher tone. So what I'd like to do, because I think it's going to get everybody into this, like really into the right vibration and like receiving a bit of a transmission, is before we kind of move into the next part, I thought we could do like a quick little meditation to connect into that womb and Hara space. And then once we're kind of in there, I was gonna play that light language for you. It's about 6 minutes, and then we'll close with that. So if you just want to get yourself comfortable and place your hands on both hands on the area of your sacral. And if anyone doesn't know where that is, you can quickly chime in. And just close your eyes. And we're already in our record, so we're already in a very sacred space. And because of that, it's kind of going to be easy to kind of drop in more quickly. So I'm called to kind of just ask you to focus your energy and your attention straight down into your sacral chakra and feel like this beautiful, bright orange light glowing and growing and expanding. Almost as if like a fireball from the sun, this orange fireball is mixing and alchemizing that solar plexus energy into your sacral, awakening it, enlivening it, purifying it. And I want you to really feel if there's any, I want you to now feel around that area and feel if there's any areas that have any tenderness or any densities at all. And if there is, just take note of that, and I will speak to that at the end of the meditation journey. But just feel around and press all over the place. Just press in and around the area with your fingertips and really just feel this space that often has so much wisdom that is not fully heard, because it's not a wisdom that we can fully understand with our mind. And yet so many of our intuitive thoughts that can make no sense at all are spoken straight from this space, this place of our womb or our heart wisdom. And so much of this Lemurian wisdom is going to rise through anchoring these codes into this beautiful chalice, this holy grail that is your sacral. And so you can stop pressing on that space and just gently relax your hands there. And I want you to see this beautiful channel of rainbow light dropping down through the top of your head, all the way down into your pineal gland, activating and awakening your pineal gland to the rainbow light codes. Drawing this rainbow light down into your throat, activating and awakening your throat chakra. Drawing these rainbow codes down into your high heart, opening, expanding, activating fully the rainbow light codes in your heart area, high heart area. Drawing this down further into your solar plexus and feeling that rainbow light energy emerging, emanating in 360 degrees in all directions from your solar center. And now down again, drawing this rainbow light into your sacral chalice, and feeling those energies swirl, awaken, activate, feeling joy, feeling absolute pure joy and liberation as a Lemurian star child, sovereign being on this beautiful Gaia, totally free to be your truly authentic self in all ways, free from all past false relationship, wounding, traumas, contracts, karmic ties. In this new Lemurian way, it is no more. It is all done and it is complete. So at this time, I ask you to really feel into this space and ask yourself, are there any connections? Are there any ties? Are there any past traumas? Is there any ancient trauma that I might not even be aware of, ancestral trauma that wants to step forward at this time to be fully cleansed and purified and released into this rainbow elixir of this heaven on earth light? And I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to really feel into that. And if anything comes up, I want you to send it this light and just keep sending it this light until you feel it dissolving and you feel yourself coming back into this state of joy and bliss and peace and harmony. And then I'm going to play this light language while you're still in this space before we close. All right, so if you haven't come back yet, you can come back. I've never had a high-pitched voice come through me like that before. And again, it's this new energy, it's tied to this new energy that is coming down through the Glastonbury tour. And so it's different, even for me, but I feel like it's very much tied to the high vibrations of the divine feminine that are really wanting to come through at this time for the collective. So I feel like this next slide we've kind of covered, but we'll just quickly go over why is ancestral medicine rising now? And there's a sense of urgency to reawaken and remember the ancient wisdom in our blood and bone and in the crystal and water. Oh, whoops, how to go back. A priestess wields her powers in service to others. And that's really, anyone who has that ancient priestess lineage through their past incarnations has really been called forward into service at this time. Because that whole lineage wants to really reawaken as part of the new earth. And his or her world is oriented around seeing through the matrix of our reality to come into alignment with heaven on earth and his or her divine gifts. So it's really about, in many respects, it really is about you. And it's about people coming into a greater self-awareness of the fullness of who they are, and coming into a much deeper self-love through that self-awareness. And that's really needed if we're going to truly love the planet as well, and really know her and be able to care for her properly through truly knowing her. And we will never fully know her if we don't know ourselves. So how flower essences and gem elixirs heal. It can help you talk to the spirit of the land and of the spirits in the realms. And they truly are a shortcut to finding out who you truly are. It's a vibrational medicine that attunes you to the frequency of the plants and the gems and their specific wisdom and healing powers over a short period of time. And I find that I feel like it really is going to depend on what it is you're working with. But generally speaking, you will find benefits and noticeable change in frequency in as little as a week, and up to 4 weeks is a typical cycle for how long you would take a specific um, elixir or essence. Again, that's, you know, compared to some things that can linger for years otherwise untreated. So it's very fast. And the pristine life force and sacred geometric structures of the essence replace the old discordant patterns in your energy field and your tissues of your body to restore you over time to the vibration of your divine blueprint. So it's really is all about vibration, and it's, I mean, and how that is sort of recognizing, it's helping you re-recognize the truth of who you are. It's like, let's say you were like a software program, and your software program hasn't been gotten any defrags, it hasn't received any tune-ups to come back to its original state, and it's running a little slow, but you know, there's, you know, it's cleaning it up. You're cleaning up your system back to its original purity, and it really, really works. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but because flower essences can specifically heal, get into your tissues, it really is going to help you release any like really tough or stubborn subconscious emotional blocks that can sometimes be that last little thing that you need to really open up. And I have always found that the more I do healing on these lower chakras, the more the upper chakras just kind of come online. And that's just sort of the magic of how the process works. So as a result, you're going to experience profound emotional healing, and often physical healing can occur as a byproduct, which happened for me. And I healed my uterine fibroids and a history of yeast infections through flower essences. And that really just started to come up right away when I started to work with them. It was like immediate. So it's, even once a formula is made for you, before you even start taking it, it's been crafted in spirit and gifted to you. And through that quantum field, you can already start to receive. And that's truly magical, like the records. So your inner healing naturally aligns you to new reflections in the outer world of greater health, wealth, love, spiritual connection, pleasure, and purpose. So now I'm going to quickly walk you through when I did this ritual, which I mentioned already. And my higher self was called to do this light work at the grotto at Bruce Peninsula, like I mentioned. And there's a picture of that on the bottom here. Well, both of these pictures are from that site. It's a multidimensional portal on a ley line that connects to Trinity Ascension Gate, which I'm not going to get too much in, but it's just, there's certain sites and ley lines on the planet that do act as these portals, and it's important to do work at them because there are unfortunately some not positive energies that want to control them, to control why energies come through, which is why it's important that we do our work to bring through the light energies we want to bring through. And my ritual at this site spanned 2 days. And there was a massive density clearing on the first day into the light of the sun. As I was sitting on the cliff, I saw all of this dark matter line up in a column around the sun. And it was like pieces of this dark matter were just getting like pulled off like a little vacuum tube and sucked into the sun. And it was partially a personal reflection, I guess, of my own clearing through that lionscape. But it was also felt like very much like a collective clearing that was getting prepared in order to bring through, again, these higher energies on the next day. And it all comes back to what I was saying, is like that dark matter around the sun is very much like those karmic imprints or old ties that we sometimes hold in the human body in that sacral area. that need to, like, sometimes it's just that, like, that one thing that really needs to go in order to, like, more powerfully receive everything that wants to come through for your own activation, and to really make your elixirs even more powerful, to make you a more powerful alchemist. So, and then, yeah, after that, I swam in the waters, and it really connected me with those Lemurian vibrations. They were the most pure waters I had swam in. So then the second day I went back and went up on my cliff edge, and you can't really see how high it is down there, but I was on the edge of a cliff, very kind of scared, to be honest, a little bit with how precariously I was perched there, but that was what I was called to do. And I stood there on the edge and performed my ritual. I set up my space. I had a blanket. I offered sage at the corners. It was very busy there that day, and nobody came into my little spot and bothered me. And that is something that, if you're kind of concerned for yourself about having privacy and space, if you do have anything you can offer, like sage, to create that kind of energetic space, or even if just like you're at home in your yard and you feel like you're having a hard time getting space, it's going to really help you to create your own channel for the entire process of doing this process. And so what really came through was a lot of the 7D codes. It was extremely blissful and very transformative. And I really called in that higher Syrian self aspect of me, which I know as Amala. And there was a lot of powerful work with the dolphins and the rainbows through that rainbow bridge at that time to kind of bring in these new codes. The dolphins were really active with bringing in a lot of these codes that we're starting to see in more physical terms now, especially in these past, since the 444 gateway. It was all kind of really anchored at that time. And I was really in a state of absolute high vibe and bliss for days. And I had to go back to waters. I went to the Great Lakes for 2 days after that, just to like get myself back in the water where all of these new energies were rising and where you could connect with them the most, to like continue and complete my process. And I'm not saying you necessarily all need to do like a 4 or 5 day process like I did, but it's just important to understand that you can go very deep with your process, and the more you connect and the more you put into it and the more you follow your intuition when you're doing these kinds of journeys, the deeper you'll go and the more you'll get out of it, and the more it will expand your consciousness. So on the way back from this journey, I blessed my elixir with plants that I found along the way, which was, the plants were called me, they spoke to me. It's important when you see a plant that you want to connect with, you ask, it's like, oh, can I bless my elixir with you? And if it says yes, then, I blessed my elixir with the plant. And this was just like this very blissful half-an-hour walk back to the car. And I stopped and I took a picture for some people that were there, that were a family that was also visiting where I had gone that day. And they had asked me to take a picture. And when I was looking through the camera lens, unfortunately, I don't have a copy of this picture, but I saw all of these rainbows streaming through, just like that picture in the woods that you can see at the bottom of the screen there. It was just like that on their camera screen. And I was like, did you put a filter on your camera? And they're like, no. I was like, oh, well, you'll have fun when you see this picture. So it was really that. It was very much like a visual reflection of all of those energies that were being anchored, that were coming through. And then at the very end, right before the journey was over, I saw Queen Anne's lace with a very cool bee with purple wings, or it has a purple tip on the wing, which really kind of makes me feel like the spirit of Saint Germain was there or something through this bee. Or some beautiful priestess, ancient priestess of light, because the bees is very connected to the priestesses of Greece, the Delphic bee, the priestesses of Delphi, and also to Demeter as well, and who is very connected to the harvest. And it was very special to see this very unique, beautiful bee on a Queen Anne's lace at the end, because Queen Anne's lace, her role as an essence is to align us with divine will and to align us with that inner divine queen aspect. And we both have queen and king aspects within. There's essences specifically to align with your inner king, and those it's not gender specific, but it's just about that. Those queenly feminine energies was really, like I said, what it felt like that was what was being anchored. And seeing the Queen Anne's lace with the bee was like this very powerful symbol confirming my experience. And it was really confirming that while the whole experience was very soft and very spiritual, it was also extremely powerful. And that is something that inner sovereign power, through being so true to ourselves and anchored in our spiritual inner world and our truth, is really the foundation for everything that we're birthing through this journey as we dive into the world of essences and elixirs. So I'm gonna skip this one. How are we on time? We don't have a lot of time. I think I had some case studies. I don't think I have time to go over them today. Maybe we can go over them another time. It's just like I wanted to like go deeper and to explain how you can really channel with the plants, but maybe that's like a part 2, and maybe we can work on that like at another time. So before I continue into getting into the crafting, which is more straightforward and probably will go a little faster, is there anything that anyone wants to ask before we go through that part?
Any questions? If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to type them into the chat and I can facilitate them to Miss Jessica. That, and by the way, my body, I can't tell you how many times just like fully came alive with so much energy and confirmation and awareness. This has been phenomenal. Amazing. Anybody have any questions that they want to ask Jessica before we continue on? What was the name of the tarot cards for the Lemurians?
Okay, it's called the Lemurian Star Child Oracle. And the deck, the back of the card look like this. I think that maybe they are like available on Amazon now, but otherwise you can get them off of their website. So if you just Google Lemurian Star Child Oracle, their website will definitely come up and you can find them there.
Cool. Yep. Jonathan has a question. Do you offer private and personal readings? And if so, how would they go about scheduling one with you? And I'll definitely send your information along with resources tonight, everybody.
Yeah, I do. And I will be showing my contact information at the end. And I'm also going to be having you guys email me with your homework, showing me your finished product, so that you're definitely going to be getting in touch with me. And I have my website on there as well. So I do readings. I do take people into these magical realms. And people get all sorts of great activations in them. And I find it's just like it's really where people want to go to get activated to the priestess path, because that's where that sort of whole Merlin lineage like that resides. And it's like we've fallen out and more away from having that stronger connection with the realms, and now that's wanting to kind of come back together more, because in a way we're doing disservice to the realms by being so low vibrational and drawing energy out of it in the way things currently are. So we got to help our fairy friends and our and our priestesses out. So yeah, I'd love to do readings for you guys. All right, so let's go on to the preparation. So before we get into actually crafting the medicine, if you guys have time tonight, before we do the preparation tomorrow, I would love it if you could take the time to connect with your gem. And this is something that is a really good thing to do to, again, just further deepen your process. It's something that I typically do when I'm preparing a flower essence or a tree essence, but you can certainly do this with a gem as well. And what all you really need to do is ask to connect to the spirit of the gem. And when you get a yes, you can hold it and meditate with it. You can draw your gem if you want. But just anything that you feel is going to help deepen your connection to the gem. If you're using a Lemurian crystal, it often helps to stroke the ribs on the Lemurian crystal to, like, people, you know, often say that that helps to awaken the codes in the crystal. But you're going to know from within what's going to help you deepen your connection. And you know, this not, you know, people do this all the time with gems, because people meditate with gems all the time. So, but if you've already meditated a lot with the crystal you're using, don't feel maybe like you have to do this. But if you haven't, I do think it's a good idea. And then at the end, you can just record your experience in your journal. And the questions that are great to ask is like what the gem's healing gifts are from your inner wisdom and what it wants to share with you from your perspective. And I feel like that's important because a lot of the time we just rely on external descriptions of what something does for us. Like, and often those things are true. It's not necessarily bad. Like Lemurian quartz is very heart opening. It's very much like helps you align with the vibration of unconditional love. That's something you will find online, and from personal experience, that's totally true. But it's different to read it and to know it through your inner experience. And so just having that as a bit of a precursor before we enter the group field as a little exercise, I think it's just gonna like make the whole experience more powerful. So, and it's really great to do with plants because drawing plants is like takes work and it's fun and, and it gets your creative juices flowing. So this next one here, I think you've all already done, but if anyone wasn't here yesterday, I want you to cleanse your gems with some spring water and some sea salts, and you can place them outside. If you haven't yet done that, just right after we get off today, you can go cleanse your gems like you can see in that picture there. This is after I brought my gems back inside. So gathering your medicine tools. So again, we've kind of gone over this a little yesterday, so I'll try and be quick, but you're going to need your small or medium glass bowl with no etchings, like my one here. You can see there's no markings on the bottom. I don't know why it's harder to find in North America. This bowl is a Japanese bowl, and it's like the nicest, thickest glass bowl ever in my life. So they know how to make glass bowls in Japan, apparently. And then the other things you're going to need is your amber Boston round. The one here in the middle is a 2 ounce for your mother elixir, which I'll explain. And then you got your 1/2 ounce stock bottle over here and your brandy. Now, if you don't have these things yet, just know this is what you're going to use when you ultimately put it together. And so we already talked about sterilizing equipment, but if you weren't here, just quickly, you boil your glass bowl, your bottles, and your droppers in a large pot of water for 10 minutes and let them dry and clean on a towel. And the last thing I'd like you to do is to download the Zoom app on your phone if you haven't already, and write down your meeting ID in advance just to avoid like any potential hiccups. So just because the reality is it would be ideal if people could be outside when they do this, and being on desktop or laptop isn't really going to work so well outside. So nobody really needs to, it's more about just being on the call, even if your video's off, and being outside for the sake of trying to do this as a collective exercise, which is, in and of itself a bit challenging, but I think worthwhile. And so for tomorrow, you're going to pack your tools. You're going to pack your bowl, 2 to 3 ounces of spring or glacier water, your offering, if you have one, which could be a small gem, some sage, or anything else of value that you want to offer. And if you're going to be sitting on the ground and it's wet, or cold, I would recommend bringing a blanket that you're okay with putting on the ground outside. So find your beautiful and calm place outdoors. I know a lot of places are closed right now. Like I'm, I know that's a little tricky, but because even a lot of public trails are closed. If you're in your yard, that's still great. But wherever you feel you're like safe to go to do this, where you feel good. And set up your space as you feel guided. Just take a little time to get comfortable. You can bring additional crystals if you like. I often do that. I bring my large glass crystal pyramid just to help, create that additional channeling effect. And take that little moment in your heart to close your eyes and give that offering to the earth and connect and just give that thanks, give that gratitude, because you are receiving something of precious value from her through this process of preparing your elixir. And it's all part of this whole idea of like equal energy exchange and recognizing and appreciating her for that and offering something in return. So in addition to all of that, if you want to create an extra layer of protection, you can either burn some sage or you can visualize a golden bubble of energetic protection around your sacred space. And then connect deeply with the plants, the rocks, the trees around you, and ask to connect to their spirit as you go through the ceremony to ground yourself and the frequencies you will be imparting. So it's really important to be in the right frame of mind. This whole process of preparing essences and elixirs is it's slow. It's not, it's because it's really working more with that earth rhythm, that earth voice, which is not always, it's very magnetic, it's yin. And if you're used to kind of being more and always in those like the higher etheric vibrations or the electric, it can feel a little bit slow, but it's because you are working more on the yin side overall. But once you're in that yin space, you're able to ground so much, and it's really it's rewarding to kind of give yourself the opportunity to trust that process and to not feel like, oh, like there's nothing, this is too slow and I'm not, jumping into this powerful experience right away. It actually is a really grounded foundation for your experience. So then you're going to place your gems in your water bowl, and you're going to sit the bowl in front of you and set your intention. And you're going to tune your frequency and channel with the bowl through your hands. So you're not necessarily going to have to hold the bowl the entire time, but for the first part of going through this process together, like for the first half an hour, ideally, I'd like it if you were like holding your bowl and transmitting those energies from your hand, like into your elixir. And you can call in the Lemurian priests and priestesses and your star family. I highly recommend doing that. Ask for their assistance in this process because they want to assist, I think, very much at this time. I even think that the light ships want to assist in this process in the ways that they can. So it's just really, I would really tune in and really ask yourself who you really feel called to bring in to assist. And one more thing you can do is to ground your energies into the new earth grid through your feet by being barefoot. Now, if it's really cold where you are, or like the ground is really, really like just not conducive to that, then it's not a requirement. But if it's something where you can do it and it's not going to be like something of a safety concern, or your like feet are going to like fall off, it's really going to increase the power of your experience to be barefoot outside. I even go out and put my feet barefoot in the river in like -10 Celsius here sometimes, because it's so powerful and healthy for me and my work to do that. So now I wouldn't do that for half an hour while I was making an essence though, but it just goes to show the point that like all of these things really help. Every little thing is relevant to the process. So I think I already said setting your intention. I also providing you with an affirmation on the next slide if you want to use it. And it's specifically for plants, but you can just add the language of gems in, because I just think it's so beautiful if you do feel connected to the elven realms and the fairy realms. So what that affirmation is I welcome the wisdom of the elven ones, the starborn family knowledge of plants and trees and gems, and the kingdom of floral blessings. The elven ones enlighten me with the joy of starlight and sacred circles of love. So if you, I'm going to move on just for the sake of time, but we can come back to that if anyone wants to like write that down afterwards. So at this point, you want to, if you can stand up, great. If you can't, that's okay, but raise your arms up to connect directly with the sun. And if it's cloudy, just try your best to figure out where the sun is and face the sun. And which is also, and you're also connecting through that to the higher dimensional Syrian sun, and meet with her, connect with her energies directly, and allow the energies and the psychic, all those psychic impressions that want to flow through to come naturally and with ease. And at that point, you're really just a channel, and you're really just receiving in a calm way. And I will try and give like some time just to be quiet with that. And I'll also provide a little bit of any channeled messages or activations and light language that want to come through if I feel guided through the course of that process. But there will be a little bit of time at the very least where there's just a little bit of quiet for you to really just receive from that such a grounded place. And when that's complete, I'll bring us back, and you'll still be in connection with your gem. You'll still be essencing, but we're gonna, in that, like while you're staying energetically connected to it, we're gonna come back and start to share our experiences of what was coming through. And I think that'll help to activate each other and each other's consciousness as it's being imparted into the elixir. And when that's done, we'll do a little closing ceremony, and I'll ask you to check in with your crystal and the sun and feel if everything is complete. And if you get a yes, you can give your thanks and close. And then from there, you're going to carefully bring your water back to your bottling station. And so if you have to like bring another like glass bowl with a lid or something, if you have to do that because you're like driving, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just make sure that other bowl is also sterilized. If you're walking and you can just carry it, that's great. But you just don't want all your water that you've just essence to spill everywhere. So just make sure you carefully bring it back to your bottling station. And if there's, if you are walking and you're called to bless it along the way, you can do that. Just always remember to ask permission. If you're going to be receiving the spirit of a plant, you always ask for the permission. And, often I do that by just like, once I have a yes, I'll just like do a quick dip of the plant. I won't like cut it off or anything. I'll just leave it on like, just like kind of like fold it over and just like dip. So, okay. So now we're crafting. And for the crafting of your essence or your elixir, you're going to first prepare your mother essence. And that is you're going to have that for a long time. And you're going to always draw a small number of drops from that bottle to prepare the stock bottles, which you're having right now. You just have like one to prepare your first stock for your use. And that stock bottle is for a gem elixir going to be where you're typically going to be taking from directly and ingesting under your tongue. Now, with a flower essence, there's a lot of instances where you're going to do another further level of dilution, but we're not getting into that today. So this mother is going to have a very high, like a much higher concentration of brandy as a result to create this like very preserved essence. that can last up to 50 years or more. So, and it's nice to have that, because then it's just practical, so that like, because you only need such a very dilute concentration of the spirits to get the most benefits. Like the more diluted, the better. So it's almost like, while the mother is meant to be, diluted further in order to be taken so you can receive the most benefits. So you're going to fill half the bottle with 30 milliliters of brandy, and it should probably look like just under half full is what I typically find. So I would, be careful to not overfill. So if you have a way of measuring exactly 30 milliliters, that's awesome. Do that. Otherwise, I would just try and eyeball it as a little under what looks like half full. And then the rest you're going to fill with your spring water or your glacier water. So that water that's going in, that I say the spring or glacier water, is the water from that's your essence water, not regular water. It's the water that was in your bowl. And in order to add that water in, you're going to use your dropper, and you're going to kind of like just be in communion and feel into the bowl where you want to draw your elixir from to add. I often, like when I did this, I was finding I was drawing a lot from like right around the gem, like right on the gem, because there's a lot of it just felt like there was a lot that was imparted directly in the areas around the gem specifically. So I was drawing a lot right off of like the gem. But do what feels right. Follow your intuition. And so it'll take a little bit of squirts, but eventually you're going to fill the rest of that bottle with your essence water, and you're done then with that. And just to be clear, if any there shouldn't be any crystal or plant material in your final product whatsoever. So with crystals, that's quite easy, because crystals don't really typically have a lot of debris. But if any plants, let's say, fell in, or let's say you blessed with plants and there was little plant bits, you want to make sure that none of that gets into your pipette and that ends up ultimately in your mother bottle. You don't want that. So that's why we don't just pour big amounts of water with flasks in, and why we use the pipettes, because you're going to see if any little bit got in there, you're going to see it, and it's easy to then squirt it out and piping. And so the next thing is making, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to go forward and I'm going to go back, because these slides are kind of backwards. So something I want you to then do, and don't worry if you don't have this right now, you can do it later, or you can even just do it on a piece of paper and tape it on, really. But what I do really want you to do is get a label on there that tells you the date that you prepared your essence. You could say the date, you can say the time, you can say the location, and you can even say the moon cycle if you want, if you feel that's relevant. All of that information should be on your bottle, as well as what the elixir is. Like in this case, a lot of people will be preparing Lemurian seed quartz, but whatever it is that you're preparing. And I know that this is I know some people also have a specific finishing label, but this is just in addition to that, so that you have those details, so that when you can look back over many years and recall just where you made this and when. And you will forget otherwise. It's hard to keep records of these things. It's best to just keep it right on the bottle. So let's go back. And so then for preparing then your stock bottle, once you have your mother, you're going to, after you've done that and shaken up your bottle really good, you're going to extract 5 to 10 drops from your mother bottle and place them in your stock bottle. And that is not going to look like a lot. It's going to look like very little in the bottle. And from there, you're going to add 3 milliliters of brandy. And I know it's hard to measure out exactly, but basically it should look about a quarter a little under a quarter full at that point. And the rest you're going to then fill with regular spring or glacier water, not from what you've essenced, just regular. So it's actually very, very dilute. And this is actually what increases the power. So I'm putting here that the rest on a 1/2 ounce stock bottle would be approximately 12 milliliters of water. What that gives you is a ratio of an approximately 20% alcohol concentration, which is very good for a stock bottle. You can go a little less than that. You can go a little over that. So don't stress if you don't get exactly 3 milliliters brandy in your bottle. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's just an average that works well, because typically a stock bottle is you're going to be using it a fairly short period of time. But even with that amount, it's still going to last, like 7-8 years or something. So, and you're probably going to be using it in a month or two. So it's really, if you're using it very, very fast, you don't really need as much brandy. And just to clarify, if you're wondering about the brandy is just like very pleasant tasting preservative alcohol that has been very popular in flower essences for a very long time. But you can use, like, some people make some essences and elixirs with vodka. Some people, even that don't want to use any alcohol, will use vinegar. The only thing about vinegar is it just doesn't taste very good. So if you are, absolutely no alcohol, you can use vinegar instead. I just want to make that clear. So I think that explains that. And then if you have your labels, they don't look exactly like this one. This is an older version of that label for the Lemurian quartz. This is when you can add them to your bottles at the very end. I don't recommend adding them before that, because if they get wet when you're putting things together, they're going to get all messy and ruined, and you don't want that. So, and that's it. And you, voila, have your ready to go, ready to take stock bottle. And I actually find right now, like today particularly, oh look, I have one to show you guys. I find right now I'm being asked to take it a little bit more. So typically you wouldn't take more than 5 drops at a time, up to like 3 times a day. And a standard average dose is 3 drops 3 times a day. And what you do is you tap it on your hand like this, and you call in the most potent spirit essence of that elixir, and you will squeeze out any sort of extra fluids that you've got in there, and then draw in your amount and put 3 drops under your tongue. And then once you've done that, you're going to sit with your eyes closed in a meditative state and allow that to basically absorb and assimilate and with your system. It's really going to impart all of those frequencies onto you, and you'll feel it. And depending on the vibration of the plant or the gems that you're working with, it will feel different. And it's really cool to start seeing, like, wow, this plant does this and this plant does that. And like, nature is this big medicine store that just wants me to be like so happy all the time. But they do really have specific uses. And I find that fascinating that it works like that. But it really is really cool there's so much to learn and to grow with over time. So when you're done with that, you can send me your pictures of your creation. You can send any pictures of the process of creating it if you want, and any journal reflections you have, so that I can take a look. My email is there. It's jessica@jessicaamaladawn.com. And you can copy Emily on the email so that she can review your work. So now if you aren't continuing on to the actual in-person retreat at Shasta, and if you really don't want to do this, it's not a requirement in that sense, but you'll get something out of it, and you'll get feedback and any sort of additional like impressions or messages if you do provide it. And then you'll have that nice document of your journey for yourself. So I think it's worthwhile if you do submit your work regardless.
Yes, this is how you'll get your alchemy certification from the work we're doing this week.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jessica, we have a few questions for you too. So just let me know whenever you're ready to take the questions, and I can facilitate those through for you from the chat.
Sure. Sure. Let's do that now, because I know we're kind of short on time.
All righty. First question came from Kelly when you were talking about the amber bottles. She has clear bottles. Is that a problem?
For now, like for the sake, if that's all you have right now in the immediate, I would use that. But the thing is that it won't have as long of a life. So like a 2-ounce glass bottle for your mother essence for that you're gonna have for a really long time, you're not gonna want that. You're gonna want to switch to an amber round, because that amber color has the longest longevity. Now, but for something that you're using just for a short period of time, if you're using it regularly, that's not going to be such a big deal for the stability of the frequency of the elixir. So, but you will, if you're going to be ordering, if you're going to want to prepare more in the future and have more than one stock bottle, I would recommend getting a brown or amber 1/2-ounce bottle as well. But it's, I guess I just don't want to say it's as mandatory. It's just preferred.
And the reason that it preserves is because it keeps out more of the electromagnetic spectrum, right, of light that can zap the good stuff inside of its juice.
Green bottles are pretty good too. Blue bottles are good too for different reasons. Blue bottles keep a strong mystical energy. Green is really good for when you're working with like heart chakra stuff, but like the most longevity, for most things, if you're working especially if you're working on like things like emotional and physical healing, is the amber.
Okay. Can the brandy be flavored, or does it need to be plain?
It's a good question. I haven't used flavored before, but it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as there's no actual plant material in it, it's fine.
Perfect. And I see this question might have come up a couple of times, and I think you've answered it through the process of everything you've spoken, but I'm going to ask just to make sure everybody's clear. The water that we're using to make actually make the elixir, that's pure fresh spring water. It's not the water that we cleanse, the salt water that we cleanse the crystals in today. It's totally fresh, yes?
It's fresh water. It's not the water you use for the cleansing.
Okay.
That water that you use for the cleansing, you discard that, and ideally that's when you would sterilize, your glass bowl, and then just be putting the fresh water in to prepare the essence.
Okay. Jen Soto said she was writing and missed the explanation of the offering, but Ice took a screenshot of it, and I will send it out to you guys tonight in your resources. So Jen, if you have any other question about the offering, let us know, but I did take a screenshot of that slide, and that has the specific Elven wording that Jessica used to invoke the Elven and fairy realms into that offering. Let's see. Rhonda said, can we hug a tree instead? I think she was talking there about standing barefoot. If it's really cold outside, standing barefoot for quite a while, is that an acceptable way to connect with the land?
Of course, yeah. I don't want you to do anything that's going to be super uncomfortable, because if it is uncomfortable, it's just going to take you out of being in a good state for your process. I'm just saying, if it is comfortable, depending on where you live and depending on, the weather, if you're somewhere where it's mild and you're on grass, that's going to be pretty comfortable to do that. And if so, I highly recommend it. But if it's not, then hugging a tree is a great option.
No French kissing the tree though, because that's probably not very comfortable. Okay, Rhonda says, what do we do with the extra elixir that's in the bowl? So we're going to be adding some with the pipette. I love that you called it the pipette, the actual name for the. So you're going to pipette into your jars, what do we do with the rest of it that's in there?
Okay, so that's a good question. You will have extra, and you have a couple of options. You can make like if you have an extra 2-ounce bottle, you can make a second mother if you think it like you want this for like a very long time, or if you think it's something you want to share with people as gifts. But that's going to last you a very long time. Or you can drink it, and you can just sort of like make a ritual out of drinking that and receiving those energies. So whatever you feel called.
Cool.
I also one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I prepared mine, I was called to. I did drink some, but I did an offering to the earth before I left to just give thanks. And so I gave some of that water back, and then I was guided through like a little bit of light language, and it was really beautiful. So that's another option.
Ooh, I just got the image of myself too, walking around my house and just like sprinkling it, almost like you crystal grid your property, but just gridding your property with it. Whatever you feel called to do, share what comes in for you
Put
guys.
it in a spray bottle and spray it around. Like, get creative.
Jonathan asked, are we bringing salt tomorrow?
No.
Right. That was just for the cleansing water. Got it. Jen Soto is a place where it could be raining tomorrow. What's the best backup plan if it's raining?
So if it's raining, and it's really raining, and it's to the point where like you can't really be outside doing it, the best option if you want to do this live is to, like, if you have some sort of a covered balcony or veranda or porch, I know that's not like going to be everybody that has that, but that could be a way of being in the out of doors and still connecting with the sunlight despite the rain, just by being out of doors in a sheltered space and doing it that way. And if really you don't have anything, what I recommend, honestly, and I hope that everyone can participate live, but just come and participate and do the meditation, sit there indoors with your bowl, and then you can finish that process later. But when your sun comes out again, then you can go on your own time and actually provide that sunlight to the bowl. And you've still sat with the water, with the group, brought the consciousness of the group. And it's a little bit more work on your part, which is why I feel bad, because it then becomes a longer process. But if it's just like a little bit of rain and it's not going to be super cumbersome, I would try and just do it outside. But obviously that's not going to be like realistic if it's pouring rain.
Okay. Melinda's clarifying if the stock bottle is the bigger one. It's the little one, right? It's the mother is the big one and the stock's the little one.
The mother is the big one. The stock is the little one.
Roger and copy.
Mother, stock.
Stock. Okay. I think we've answered those. Can you use several Lemurian crystals in your bowl?
Yes.
Okay. Jonathan Warren got the glass butter holder thingy, which is, of course, the technical name of it. Will this work, or does he need a bowl?
I thought, that's going to be fine.
Yeah.
My last bowl, which broke, was not perfectly round either. Like now, I do have this gorgeous round bowl, but mine wasn't before. The one that I made, I think you can even see in the pictures, it wasn't round, but it just didn't have etching, so it's fine.
Okay.
So yes, you can use it.
Laura says she only has the 2-ounce bottles. Can she use the size even for the stock bottle, as long as she makes the proportions the same and dilutes it?
Well, sure. I mean, yeah, you could do the same dilution in another 2-ounce bottle. You could. Like, I understand what you're saying. I don't off the top of my head know the math for that. It's not something people commonly do, but if that's what you've got, that's what you've got. Like, usually people use the 1/2 ounce or a 1 ounce for the stock.
Yeah, so just do your proportions there, Dr. Laura. You should be great. Nancy says,
proportions right, it's fine.
Will a stemless wine glass work? She doesn't have a non-etched bowl.
That's a very good question. I don't see why not. If that's what you've got, that's what you've got. Yeah.
Let it rip. I concur. My intuition concurs with Jessica's. Yeah. Robin says, so do we sign on to the group at 9 a.m. Pacific time And then we're going to do the ceremony together while we're in the group.
Yes, we are. So we'll come in. I think it'll be a good idea to probably go back into the records, and then we're going to follow through live, like some of the protocols that I was, mentioned today. So I will just probably try and like verbally remind people to do certain things, and it won't be as long as today, I don't think, because there's a lot of background explanation that had to happen today. So hopefully, there'll be quite a bit of time tomorrow for shares at the end of everybody's experience with all of this.
Awesome. All right. I am going to, Jessica, let's, there you go. I'm going to put stop screen sharing so we can all see each other again. Tammy said, that's why we need our Zoom on our mobile phones. Yes. Yes. Stephanie, can we see the list of supplies again? I will send it to you again in an email. Laura says she'll send you her screenshot. Awesome. Blossom. Steph, and since you are one of the enrollees to Shasta, you got a box with all the stuff in it you need, with the exception of the water, the spring water that you'll use. All right, everybody. What an amazing class today. I am so excited. Jessica, bless you for this knowledge and just bringing us all this connection. It was a fantastic class. Let's close up our records, and then you guys go get ready for the alchemist that you are tomorrow, being in full action. So we're going to give thanks for all knowledge and healing that comes forward in this space, as well as acknowledging the frequency of oneness. And with one final Om, closing the Akashic records. The records are now closed. And by the way, if you're having fun in this retreat and it is changing your life, post on Facebook about it and tag me. I'll hit the button on my timeline that shares it, so don't be offended if you don't see it right away. I've got settings on my Facebook where you can't tag me and stuff unless I give it the okay to tag. But I would love you guys to be sharing your experiences, and I will definitely share that out on my Facebook page. I love you all. Yes, Jessica, one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing I thought of. If you do decide that you're going to take the plunge and take your shoes, your boots off, I highly recommend bringing a small towel with you as well, because if it's wet or anything, like, that way you're going to be really comfortable to put your socks, your shoes back on to leave. I mean, unless you're wearing sandals, which most people aren't at this time of year. So definitely pack that as well. I didn't put that on the list, but I find it's like essential when I do these journeys and I'm immersing myself and anchoring myself. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable is the thing.
Yeah.
All right. All right, everybody. Great meeting today, and we'll see you all tomorrow.